I woke up to the sound of rustling leaves, the eerie silence of the night broken by the faint whispers carried by the wind. As I stepped onto my back porch, the moonlight revealed a scene that sent shivers down my spine. The once serene backyard now appeared twisted, like a macabre reflection of my own fears and desires. A small gazebo stood in the center, its ornate structure now warped and menacing. Shadows danced ominously under its canopy, beckoning me closer. Unable to resist, I cautiously approached, my heart pounding in my chest. A fortune teller's booth materialized before my eyes, a heavy curtain concealing the mysterious figure within. Drawn to the allure of the unknown, I hesitated for a moment before stepping inside. The scent of incense filled the air, mingling with an unsettling energy that seemed to permeate the very fabric of the space. The fortune teller emerged from the shadows, her eyes piercing and knowing. Her voice dripped with an otherworldly charm as she offered to reveal my future. Curiosity gripped me, and I nodded in agreement, unaware of the horrors that awaited me. With a flick of her wrist, she unleashed a vision so horrifying, it seared itself into my consciousness. The sky turned blood red, the ground cracked open, and grotesque figures emerged from the depths. Their eyes glowed with an unholy light as they descended upon me. Their jagged teeth bared in a sinister grin. I stumbled back, desperate to escape the nightmarish scene unfolding before me. But as I ran, the backyard seemed to stretch endlessly, the once familiar surroundings twisting and contorting. The once vibrant flowers turned into writhing tendrils, reaching out to trap me in their thorny embrace. My screams echoed into the night, but there was no escape from this twisted realm. Each step I took only led me deeper into the nightmare, my own fears and desires manifesting before my eyes. Reality and nightmare blurred into a horrifying tapestry, taunting me with their cruel dance. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into an eternity as I remained trapped in that endless nightmare. The line between sanity and madness grew thinner with each passing moment, the weight of my curiosity crushing me. In the end, it was a cautionary tale, a warning to those who dared to peer into the unknown. The backyard held a dark secret, a gateway to a realm where nightmares became reality. It served as a reminder that some doors are better left unopened, and some questions are better left unanswered. As the darkness consumed me, I realized the true price of my curiosity. The backyard, once a place of solace and tranquility, became my eternal prison, a twisted reflection of my own desires and fears. And in that twisted reflection, I would remain, forever haunted by the consequences of my choices.
As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the backyard, a chill ran down my spine. It was an ordinary house, nestled in a quiet neighborhood. But there was something eerie about the backyard, an invisible force that made my skin crawl. I had always been intrigued by the paranormal, so I decided to investigate the strange occurrences. Armed with a flashlight and a camera, I ventured into the darkness, my heart pounding in my chest. The moonlight filtered through the dense foliage, creating an otherworldly glow. As I wandered deeper into the backyard, the air grew thick and heavy. The familiar chirping of crickets faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. Suddenly, a gust of wind rustled the leaves, whispering secrets in my ears. I shivered, my senses on high alert. A flickering light caught my attention. I followed it, drawn to a dilapidated shed that stood at the far end of the yard. The door creaked open, revealing a room filled with dusty antiques and forgotten memories. The air was suffocating, as if the room held the weight of 100 lost souls. In the corner, I spotted an old photograph, its edges yellowed with time. It depicted a family, their faces twisted in anguish. Something about their eyes sent a shiver down my spine. A voice echoed through the room, whispering, "Leave this place." But curiosity got the better of me. I couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. I reached out and touched the photograph. In an instant, the room spun, and I found myself in a nightmare. The walls closed in on me, their sinister whispers growing louder. Shadows danced along the floor, morphing into grotesque figures. The air turned ice cold, chilling me to the bone. I tried to run, but my feet were rooted to the spot. Hours turned into days as I battled the horrors that lurked within the backyard. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, and I lost all sense of time. Desperation consumed me as I fought to escape the clutches of the supernatural. Finally, I stumbled upon a hidden passage. A glimmer of hope in the endless darkness. With every ounce of strength, I clawed my way through, emerging into the moonlit backyard. Gasping for air, I collapsed onto the grass, my body trembling, but the horrors were not done with me. They left their mark, etched deep within my soul. Night after night, I relived the terrors, haunted by the memories of that fateful encounter. Now, I warn others to stay away from the house backyard, for it is a place where nightmares thrive. The veil between the living and the dead is thin, and those who dare to venture may find themselves trapped in a twisted reality. Beware the darkness that resides within, for it feeds on your fears and desires. The backyard of our new house had always struck me as a little off, even from the moment we first moved in. The grass was an unsettling shade of sickly green, and the trees seemed to lean inwards, as if they were whispering secrets to one another. I brushed it off as a trick of my imagination, until that fateful night, one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the yard, I decided to venture out and explore. A strange compulsion pushed me forward, even as a voice in the back of my mind warned me to turn back. The air was heavy with a damp, earthy scent, and an eerie hush enveloped the yard. As I walked deeper into the backyard, I noticed a peculiar circle of stones arranged in a pattern that seemed almost ritualistic. In the center lay a decaying book, its pages yellowed and brittle. Curiosity got the better of me, and I picked up the book, my fingers trembling. The moment I touched it, a gust of wind swirled around me, rustling the trees and extinguishing the porch light. I felt a presence, like eyes watching me from the darkness, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Flipping open the book, I was met with incomprehensible symbols and illustrations that seemed to writhe and twist on the page. A whisper seemed to echo through the air, soft at first, but growing in intensity. It was as if the very trees were speaking to me, their voices a haunting melody that burrowed into my mind. The more I tried to focus, the more the words seemed to slip away, leaving only a sense of dread and unease. Without warning, the ground beneath me trembled, and the stones in the ritualistic circle began to glow with an otherworldly light. Fear gripped me as the light intensified, casting long, twisted shadows that danced like demons across the grass. I stumbled back, dropping the book as the whisper grew louder, almost a scream now. The shadows seemed to take on a life of their own, twisting and writhing in the air. Panic surged through me as I realized I was no longer alone. Figures materialized from the darkness, skeletal shapes with hollow eyes and tattered garments that swayed with an unnatural grace. They circled the glowing stones, their voices joining the symphony of whispers that filled the air. I backed away, my heart pounding in my chest, but no matter how far I retreated, the yard seemed to stretch on endlessly. The figures drew closer, their gaze fixing on me with an intensity that froze my blood. I tried to call out, to scream for help,
but my voice was drowned out by the cacophony of whispers that threatened to consume my sanity. The wind howled, carrying with it a maelstrom of emotions, fear, despair, anger, emotions that seemed to belong to those long forgotten by time. The shadows stretched and twisted, merging into a swirling vortex that seemed to tear at the fabric of reality itself. I felt a force pulling me towards it, an irresistible urge to step into the void. In that moment, I thought of my family, of the life I had left behind in that house. With every ounce of willpower I could muster, I turned away from the vortex and ran, not daring to look back. The whispering grew fainter, the shadows receded, and the sickly green grass gave way to the soft glow of the porch light. I stumbled onto the porch. Gasping for breath, my heart still racing. I dared not look back at the yard, for fear that the darkness would have followed me. I never spoke of that night to anyone, fearing they would think me mad, but the memory has never left me.